"You're fired." That's all my sister said. No warning. No explanation. Just those 2 words, and the smirk that came with them. I'd been working at our family company, Voss & Company, since I was 21. I started at the reception desk, worked my way up to operations manager, and spent half my life making my father proud. And now, standing in the glass office that used to be his, I was being dismissed by my younger sister, Camilla Voss, the new CEO. She didn't even look at me when she said it. Just kept typing on her sleek laptop like she was swatting a fly. "Camilla," I whispered, "Dad built this company for both of us." She finally looked up, her tone icy. "Dad built it, Gabriella. But I'm the one who's keeping it alive. You're slowing things down." I felt my throat tighten. Slowing things down. I've been running this place since you were still posting selfies from college. She stood, her red heels clicking on the marble floor. "And that's the problem. You think loyalty equals ownership. Doesn't. Family doesn't guarantee success. Results do. You're out." Her assistant appeared behind me with a cardboard box. I stared at it, at the absurdity of it, and laughed bitterly. "You're serious?" Camilla folded her arms. "You'll get a severance package. Be grateful." Grateful. That word broke something in me. I packed my things in silence. The framed photo of Dad. My favorite mug. The little brass paperweight he gave me with the words, "Earn it every day," engraved beneath. As I turned to leave, Camilla said, "Don't take this personally. It's business." But it was personal. It always had been. When the elevator doors closed, I saw my reflection. Tired eyes, clenched jaw, years of loyalty erased in seconds. And yet, beneath the anger there was something else. Something almost amused. Because Camilla didn't know one very important thing. Dad had left me something before he died. Something that would change everything she thought she owned. The night after I got fired, I couldn't sleep. The city lights outside my apartment window felt colder than usual, like even the skyline was laughing at me. I'd given 12 years to Voss & Company. 12 years of early mornings, missed birthdays, late-night calls. And my own sister had thrown me out like a stranger. But anger has a strange way of keeping you awake. At 2 a.m., I poured myself a glass of wine and opened the last box I'd taken from my office. Buried beneath files and notebooks was an old brown folder with my father's handwriting across the front. "For Gabriella, if things ever go wrong." My heart skipped. I hadn't seen his writing since before the funeral. Hands trembling, I opened it. Inside was a sealed envelope and a small brass key. The letter smelled faintly of cedar. His cologne. "My Gabriella, if you're reading this, then I've failed to protect what we built. I made mistakes, especially with your sister. She wants power more than purpose. I never told her, but there's another company account. One that funds a project bigger than Voss & Company. The key opens the deposit box at Meridian Bank. Everything you'll need is inside. Don't let greed destroy what I created in love." "Dad." I sat there stunned. An unknown account. A secret project. My father had always been a visionary, but secretive. When he got sick, he'd told me, "The company's future depends on who protects the why, not just the what." Now it made sense. The next morning I drove straight to Meridian Bank. The clerk led me to a private room and placed the safe deposit box on the table. Inside was a USB drive, several legal documents, and one file labeled Project Eden. I plugged the USB into my laptop. It wasn't financial data, it was blueprints. Detailed plans for renewable tech infrastructure. Something revolutionary. Way beyond our company's usual manufacturing work. And every file had one signature at the bottom. Gabriella Voss. My heart pounded. Dad had made me the owner of this entire project. But there was one more thing. A transfer certificate for 35% of Voss & Company shares, held in my name under a trust clause. Camilla thought she owned the company outright. "I didn't," I whispered. "Oh, Camilla, you have no idea." Still, one question burned in my mind. Why would Dad hide this from her? Before I could think further, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You found it, didn't you? Be careful who you trust. Froze. How did anyone know about the letter? I looked out the window across the street. A black car sat idling, engine running. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just a sibling rivalry. Someone was watching. 2 days later, I walked back into Voss & Company. Not as an employee, but as the company's hidden shareholder. Every corner of that glass tower felt different now. The receptionist avoided eye contact. The staff whispered. I could feel Camilla's fingerprints on every inch of the place. The fear, the control, the artificial smiles. When I entered the records department, an old colleague, Henry, pulled me aside. Gabriella, he whispered, glancing around nervously. You shouldn't be here. I'm not here officially, I said. I just need a few files. Dad's old archives. He hesitated, then nodded. They're under lock in storage room C. But Camilla's been having people monitor the system. She thinks someone's been digging. I frowned. Digging for what? He swallowed. Your father's private project. Project Eden. Froze. She knows. He nodded. And someone's helping her. She's been getting reports from inside. Someone close to you. That night I combed through the logs on the USB. Hidden among the documents were email backups. Conversations between Dad and a trusted family contact. The sender's name made my stomach drop. Margaret Voss. Her mother. Don't tell Gabriella about the project yet, she'd written. She's emotional. Camilla can handle the business side. Dad's reply. This isn't about business. It's about purpose. You're both blinded by appearances. My throat tightened. Mom had known all along. I called her that night. Mom, I said carefully, did you ever know about Dad's second account? There was a pause. Gabriella. Where are you getting this? From him. Silence. Then she sighed, tired and defeated. He made me promise to keep it quiet. I thought I was protecting both of you. But Camilla found out after he passed. She told me she'd take care of everything. I didn't realize she meant firing you. Mom, I said, voice breaking. You gave her everything and she's destroying it. Her voice cracked. I thought she was stronger than you. I was wrong. Before I could respond, I heard noise through the phone. Muffled voices, a door slamming, Mom gasping. Mom! The line went dead. Called back, nothing. Panic surged through me. I grabbed my coat and drove straight to her house. Lights off. Door ajar. The place was ransacked. Papers scattered across the floor. On the dining table sat an envelope addressed to me in Mom's handwriting. If I disappear, it's not your sister you should fear. Inside was a photo of Camilla, shaking hands with a man in a suit I didn't recognize. A watermark at the bottom read, Orion Ventures. That was our biggest rival. My sister hadn't just fired me. She was selling Dad's company to the competition. By the next morning, my hands were still shaking. Camilla was working with Orion Ventures, the one company Dad refused to sell to. They'd been trying to buy Voss & Company for years, and he'd always said, "We don't build for profit, we build for purpose." And now, his own daughter was cashing in his life's work. I called Mr. Wilder, Dad's lawyer, the only man I still trusted. When I told him what I'd found, he went silent. Finally he said, "Gabriella, listen to me. If this merger goes through, your sister will have to sign off as majority owner. But you hold 35% in trust. That gives you veto power, if you prove the document's authenticity in court. So I can stop her." He nodded. "Yes. But it'll expose everything, even the company's internal books." I didn't care. Dad built Voss & Company with sweat and dreams. I wasn't letting her sell it for greed. That afternoon, I walked into the company's annual shareholders meeting. The room fell silent as I entered. Camilla stood on stage in a white suit, all smiles. "Today," she said, "we take Voss & Company into a new era. I'm proud to announce our partnership with Orion Ventures." Applause. Cameras flashed. I waited until the noise died down, then stepped forward. Before you sign anything, maybe you should mention that this deal violates our founder's non-compete clause, and that Orion Ventures once sued us for theft of design. Camila's face drained of color. Gabriella, she hissed through clenched teeth. You're not supposed to be here. Smiled. Funny. Dad thought otherwise. I held up the 35% certificate and the trust documentation. The crowd gasped. Mr. Wilder's voice rang out from the back. That means this merger is void unless both parties approve. Camila's composure cracked. You don't know what you're doing. Actually, I said softly. I do. The board erupted into whispers. Camila turned pale, trembling. You'll regret this, Gabriella. You'll lose everything. I stepped closer. If losing everything means keeping his honor, then so be it. Security escorted me out moments later, but not before I saw Camila storm off stage, her perfect smile gone. That night my phone rang again. Block number. A deep male voice said, You've made powerful enemies, Miss Voss. Walk away. Blick. I stared at the phone, heartbeat thundering. If I didn't fight smart, this wasn't going to end in a courtroom. It was going to end in blood. The next morning, every news headline screamed my name. Disgraced heiress accused of leaking company secrets. Former executive under investigation. Camila had struck back. I stood in my kitchen, staring at the TV as the anchor said. Sources claim Gabriella Voss leaked confidential merger documents to media outlets, sabotaging the deal. I dropped my coffee cup. It shattered across the tiles. She had turned the story upside down. Mr. Wilder called minutes later. She framed you, Gabriella. The documents were sent from your old company email. But we both know you didn't do it. How do we prove that? He hesitated. We'll need access to Orion Ventures server logs. And that means finding someone on the inside. My mind raced. Then I remembered Henry, the same employee who'd warned me earlier. He'd been working under Orion's new consultancy division after Camila's takeover. Called him. Henry, I need your help. I've been set up. He sighed. I know. Camila ordered IT to clone your account 2 weeks ago. But listen. She doesn't know I copied the access logs before leaving. Hope Spark. Can you send them to me? He did. The files revealed everything. Timestamps, login records, and an IP address. The hacker wasn't me. It was Camila's personal assistant. I felt fire in my veins. She's going down. That night, I confronted her in her office. She didn't even flinch. I warned you, Gabriella. You should have stayed out. You framed your own sister. He shrugged. I protected the company. You wanted to destroy it. No, I said quietly. I wanted to save it. I dropped the printed logs onto her desk. Her face went pale. You used your assistant to hack my email. I have timestamps, server data, and a witness. The only thing left is to show this to the board, or the police. Camila's voice broke. Gabriella, please don't. For the first time I saw fear in her eyes. I leaned closer. Dad warned me about greed, Camila. But he never said how ugly it looks when it wears your face. I turned and walked out, leaving her frozen behind me. The next morning Mr. Wilder called. The board's convening tonight. Bring everything. It's over. I looked out the window at the city I'd once thought was too big for me. Now it felt like it was finally mine. The boardroom was full. Reporters waited outside. Every director, lawyer, and executive sat around the long mahogany table that used to be Dad's favorite place. Camila entered last. Her perfect posture was back, but her eyes gave her away. Bloodshot, sleepless. Mr. Reed, the interim chair, cleared his throat. Today we review allegations of misconduct against current CEO Camila Voss and vote on emergency leadership action. Camila started strong. My sister's waging a personal vendetta. She's angry I let her go. I cut in, sliding the USB drive across the table. Play the files. The projector came alive. Email chains. Bank transfers. The assistant's confession. Then Henry's video testimony appeared on screen. Ms. Camila ordered me to access Gabriela Voss's account and leak documents to discredit her. I have the instructions signed by her. Gasps filled the room. Camila's voice trembled. This is fake. Mr. Wilder rose. It's authenticated by digital forensics. The timestamps match your workstation login. Silence. Only the hum of the projector remained. I turned to her. You told me firing me wasn't personal. But this was. She looked around desperately. Dad would have wanted. I slammed the folder shut. Don't you dare use his name to justify this. Mr. Reed spoke again. All those in favor of removal and permanent disqualification from executive office? Hands lifted. One by one. Camila's face crumpled as the final vote passed unanimously. Mr. Reed turned to me. As majority stakeholder, Ms. Voss, the board requests you assume interim leadership. For a moment I couldn't breathe. Then I nodded. For Dad. Camila stood slowly. Enjoy the crown, sister. It's heavier than you think. As security escorted her out, I whispered. It's not a crown. It's a responsibility. When the doors closed, the room burst into quiet applause. I walked to the window, sunlight spilling over the city. Dad once said, power doesn't reveal character, it magnifies it. Now I finally understood. But this wasn't the end. Because power never comes without its ghosts. That night my phone buzzed again. A message from Camila. You think you won. Check the vault. Let's see who's laughing then. At midnight I drove back to headquarters. The halls were dark, the hum of security lights echoing like whispers. Dad's old vault sat behind his office wall, accessible only by a numeric pad and a physical key. The brass key from his envelope fit perfectly. Inside were boxes of ledgers, contracts, and a single envelope labeled Legacy Directive. I unfolded it carefully. To my daughters. Voss and Company was never meant to be just a business. It was designed as a funding channel for Project Eden, sustainable technology meant to clean the rivers we helped industrialize. Whoever leads must continue the mission. If either of you sells this dream for profit, the company forfeits all assets to the Environmental Restoration Fund. Dad. Tears blurred the words. He'd built safety into his legacy. If greed ever won, everything would reset to good. I turned the lights on and smiled. You thought the vault would ruin me, Camila. It saved me. The next day I called a press conference. Journalists packed the lobby as I stood behind the podium. My father's dream wasn't luxury. It was legacy. Today, I'm announcing that Voss and Company will dedicate half its profits to Project Eden, turning waste plants into renewable centers across the country. The room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. Later that night I got one final call from Camila. Her voice was soft. You found it, didn't you? Yes, I said. You could have led this with me. I wasn't built for it, she whispered. You were. For the first time she didn't sound like my rival. She sounded like my sister. 6 months later the company was thriving. Project Eden had become a national initiative. The government offered grants. Employees finally smiled again. Then, one afternoon my assistant knocked. Gabriela. There's someone here to see you. Camila. She looked nothing like the woman who'd fired me. No designer suit, no sharp eyes. Just a gray sweater and humility. I heard about Project Eden, she said softly. It's beautiful. Dad would have loved it. I nodded cautiously. What do you want, Camila? She hesitated. A job. Not in management. Just somewhere I can help. I studied her. For once, there was no arrogance, only honesty. You don't need a title to help, I said. You just need heart. And accountability. She reached into her bag and slid a worn photo across my desk. Dad, the two of us, and Mom, smiling by the first factory gate. I found this when I cleared storage, she whispered. He'd written on the back. They'll find their way together. Something in me broke. The anger, the resentment, it melted away. Dad hadn't wanted one of us to win. He'd wanted both of us to grow. I exhaled slowly. You can start next week. Entry level. You'll work your way up. Camila smiled faintly. That's fair. As she left, I looked at the photo again and murmured, "We finally did it, Dad." That night Mom called. "I'm proud of you, Gabriella," she said. "You restored more than a company. You restored us." And for the first time in years I felt complete. The cemetery was quiet, bathed in gold morning light. I stood before Dad's headstone, a bouquet of blue lilies in hand. His favorite. It had been a year since Camila's downfall, 6 months since her return, and only a week since our first joint presentation of Project Eden. I placed the flowers gently and whispered, "We finally got it right." A breeze moved through the trees. Somewhere in it, I swore I heard him chuckle. "Took you girls long enough." I smiled through tears. We had to learn the hard way. On my way back to the car, I stopped by the new Voss and Company billboard overlooking the city. "Building a cleaner tomorrow, together." Camila designed that tagline herself. That night, I wrote my final journal entry, the one I never thought I'd write. She fired me because she thought I was beneath her. I laughed because I knew something she didn't. My worth was never tied to her title. I lost everything but found myself. And when I showed them what Dad truly left behind, I didn't show revenge. I showed resurrection. I closed the journal, turned off the light, and felt peace settle like a warm blanket. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's the quiet moment you realize you've already won. They can take your title, your job, even your name, but not your purpose. When they laugh, keep building. When they doubt, keep working. And when it's time, let your results do the talking. I'm Gabriella Voss, and this was my story. Speech balloon if this story inspired you. Comment, "I know my worth." Red heart, like, share, and subscribe for more cinematic stories of betrayal, truth, and redemption.